Hello and welcome to a one-off session to hopefully ease some fears around your children going back to school. So how to help your child cope with transitions back to school during COVID-19? Question that everybody has. Every fall, parents are tasked with managing back to school transitions. Usually this means going shopping, enrolling them in extracurricular activities, making sure they're registered for school, managing their excitement or nervousness about back to school. But you know what? With COVID-19, the start of the new school year feels quite different, doesn't it?
Very much so.
Research is showing that COVID-19, parents and children are experiencing greater levels of anxiety and stress, with information about the process changing all the time, like almost on a daily basis. These feelings of uncertainty may increase. And I don't blame you if they do. I don't have a school-age child, and yet I'm thinking about how are they going to manage this. So parents and children may feel nervous about contracting, getting, or spreading COVID-19 within the school system, within their community, because they are going back to school. They might be frustrated because of vague reopening plans, changing all the time, skeptical of whether children are able to follow social distancing or mask protocols. It's not,
interesting to see.
It's going to be very interesting to see. And I'm sure there'll be lots of news reports in the coming weeks on how things are going to happen. However, while levels of anxiety and stress may be high, parents do play a very important role in helping their children cope by encouraging a positive back-to-school transition and helping to reduce children's anxieties and worries. It is tasked on us. It is our responsibility as parents to make sure we do this.
Yeah, absolutely. So have honest and open discussions. It's important to have honest, factual, and open discussions, conversations with your child about COVID-19 and its implications for returning to school. So tailor the conversation based on your child's age and maturity level. For example, with a younger child in grades 1 to 3, you could spend some time talking about what might look different this year. Their class size may be smaller, teachers and educators may be wearing masks.
Hopefully wearing masks.
Exactly. Extracurricular activities or regular school activities, such as some forms of music, might be canceled. For older children, you can ask if there are specific things they're worried about or concerned, and talk these through with them. So you can help children and youth identify their role in staying safe, such as avoiding touching their face, washing their hands, using hand sanitizers, and keeping their distance from others. Use coping-focused language. Coping-focused language. Say that 3 times in a row.
I'd rather try to say it 10, I won't succeed.
So yes, you use coping-focused language that emphasizes the active role that children, youth, and adults are taking to make sure things go well. Following instructions, engaging in good hygiene, rather than focusing on things that are out of their control. Like if a student gets COVID-19.
And there are going to be many fears that are like that. What if my classmate has something? What if a teacher brings it into the school? What if I'm not feeling well in the morning? Like, what happens?
Right.
And right now, the basic plan is that parents are responsible for doing almost like a COVID-19 check-in with their children in the morning before sending them to school. So there's a lot of things that are going to be put on parents. There's a lot of things that are going to be put on our bus drivers, especially our yellow school buses, where it is right now that they're not going to be out until at least September 14th because of the responsibilities that they're going to have. So there's a lot of fears, a lot of worries. Following basic instructions, though, will or should be able to help some.
Yes.
It's not going to help all, but the more you can talk, the more you can name things. So speaking of naming things, you want to make sure you be able to name their fears, to tame their fears. If you don't know what their fears are,
Right.
you can't tame them. So first, parents can help their child identify their concerns by asking them what they're worried about. What might you be worried about in this school year? What might you be worried about in this school year?
I'd be worried about children playing in close proximity, sharing things that they shouldn't be sharing. I mean, kids are kids, right?
Exactly.
So the teachers and whoever is responsible to oversee are gonna have a lot on their plate.
They're definitely going to have a lot on their plate. With identifying their concerns or their fears, parents can then help their child name the worry or concern by labeling it. So if they are scared to get sick, label it. I know you're afraid that you might get sick. But here are some things that we can do about that.
Right.
This is how we can possibly protect ourselves or help others in protecting them, such as wearing a mask. So for example, younger children might name their fear the worry monster. Just so it's something that isn't really hard to understand or worrisome, but if your little one comes saying that they have a worry monster and you can help them work through that,
Right.
It's going to help them. So simply labeling the emotion and as anxiety can be helpful in older children and teenagers. The younger ones don't understand what anxiety is.
No.
They may not understand exactly what some fears are.
No.
But as your child gets older, they do start to learn what anxiety is, and you can label it as anxiety. So name the worry often helps tame the fear by helping children build understanding about what they're feeling. We try to get you to do this from an early age. Like, are you sad? Are you happy? Are you excited? This is just a new time where we're having to use some other words such as anxiety, some other fears maybe, because of COVID-19. So the more you can name them, the better it is to be able to talk about it. It also gives parents and children a common emotional language, so they know what each person is saying. It's not going over your child's head, and you're able to have a discussion around it then at their level, which is highly important that it's at their level so that they understand it. The emotional language then can be used for future discussion and provides an opportunity for parents to provide emotional support and coping strategies. These strategies include deep breathing. So teach your child to deep breathe. Just in through the nose, out through the mouth. Nice, calm. Have some, maybe some relaxing time, like get them to just focus for 15 seconds, 30 seconds, and try not to think about anything, whether it be at the beginning of the conversation or at the end of the conversation, because this can really help alleviate some of the fears, some of the anxiety, some of the tensions. Use language like, I feel better when I talk about my worries. Like, label it yourself so that your child doesn't think that you're keeping things in. The more you talk about it, the easier it is to deal with, or the easier it is to understand. Children often want reassurance. Their fears won't come true. It may be tempting for parents to say, everything will be okay, or no one will get sick. But this isn't true. During the next 8 months of school, your child will probably experience someone getting sick, whether it's COVID or the flu or a cold, but they may not know the difference.
Right.
So they're going to get that worry, that fear that they're going to get something.
Yeah.
So such words can be break. Such words can prevent children from facing their fears and developing problem solving and coping skills. This is our responsibility. This is our role to be able to help them. They can also prevent children from taking COVID-19 prevention measures. So if you're all up in the air saying, no, you won't get sick, nothing will happen, that may decrease their social distancing. It may decrease their hand washing, or being in someone's face, or not wearing a mask, because you're telling them, there's no fear.
Yeah.
You're not going to get sick. So you have to have those continued conversations. So acknowledge and support your child in discomfort, that there are some things that may be out of their control. But they have to do the best they can to control as much as they can without increasing anxiety. So you want to make sure that you talk about things they can control. So again, the face mask, wearing that mask, trying to stay what they're calling the cohort. So you're going to have your classroom bubble, you're going to have your bus bubble. So trying to stay within that and not going off to play with somebody else that you're not supposed to be playing with.
As tempting as it could be.
You see children playing on the play structure, but yet you're supposed to be over in this part.
Right.
Explain to your child, you'll get your turn. And do everything that you can to attempt to prevent you from spreading it or from you from getting it. Conversation is huge. Children do have fears.
Oh, they do, absolutely. They do. And it's also important when you're the parent having a conversation with someone else and your child can overhear what you're saying. So if you're saying, oh, I'm not worried, I never get sick, I'm not worried, I'm not going to get it, then your child is going to have this unrealistic assurance.
Good point. So be careful where you talk,
or the
who
opposite,
you talk to.
right? Or the opposite. You can create more anxiety and fear in your child, depending on. It's always important to be mindful when you're having a conversation with someone else.
Good point.
And your child is in the room, or sometimes.
Or think that they're sleeping.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, they're not always sleeping.
Yeah. So listen, validate, help to problem solve. When your child expresses or demonstrates they're struggling, start by listening carefully to their concern. Put devices away.
Put your phone away. Turn the computer off.
Right.
Turn the TV off. Turn the radio down.
So you can provide undivided attention. Then try validating your child's emotion by making a caring statement, such as, I can understand why you feel worried about returning to school, especially when there are so many changes happening because of COVID-19. Identifying reasons why your child might be feeling worried or anxious will make them feel understood.
And what's our goal? Our goal is to make our child feel better about their surroundings.
Right. So help your child face their fears by promoting problem solving. Together, identify a few possible solutions and then help them identify which solution seems best. You can discuss different options or role play solutions to help your child build confidence. Encourage your child to try out the solution in real life and discuss whether or not it worked. So if not, try picking a different solution to test.
The more you include your child in these, the better that they understand, and the more they're going to attempt. They're just like a mini you. If someone helps you problem solve and you try those different techniques, you tend to learn which ones work, which ones don't, which ones you'll never use again, or which ones you can use in different situations. They didn't work this time, but you know what? It's now in my toolbox and I might remember next time.
Absolutely.
Your children are the same way. They're going to understand these solutions if you say it in their language and you're at their level and you're actually paying attention. So yes, once again, put all electronics away and give them your undivided attention, because the more attention you give them on this matter, the more at ease they will be. Focus on things that are going well. It's important to acknowledge children's worries and anxieties, but parents should also motivate their children to focus on things they might be looking forward to. So school is one thing. They may be looking forward to seeing their teachers, their friends, that they haven't seen for probably 5 months. It's been a long time for a lot of our children not seeing the people they were playing with before. They may positively anticipate a daily school routine and take pride in their role as a student or in minimizing COVID. So you can teach your child that you're helping by, again, wearing your mask, washing your hands, not sharing food. What's your lunch is your lunch. We know children, especially the younger ones, like to share their food. But in this case, you want them to make sure they eat their own food and not eat someone else's. So these are the little conversations that we're going to have. So before school starts, you can ask what they're looking forward to for the first day of school. You can actually continue this tradition on and ask them every day.
Right.
Before they get on the bus, or you drive them to school, or you walk them to school. You can ask them, what are they looking forward to? Or what have they missed about school? They're great questions, and they're going to answer. And I bet you any money they're going to say their friends. Once school starts, you can ask what the best thing was that happened that day.
Right.
Always have these conversations with them. It opens up a new field for you, especially if you weren't used to doing it before. Sitting down at supper, asking how the day went. Or as soon as they get home from school, be excited for them and ask them how the day went. What was the best thing that they did?
That's a good way to ask them what was the best thing, because as mothers, especially the young ones that are starting off for the first time, or it's the first couple of years, we're just as excited as they are. And then they come home, so how was your day? Do you like your teacher? Did you make friends? There's too many questions, and then they just, oh, it went well, and they'll walk away.
Yeah, they do all the time.
Just focus on one question. What
Yeah.
was the best thing that happened? That's great.
Exactly. So before and after school, engage your child in planned or shared activities. Don't let them just come home and plop on the couch or get in front of that video game. Have a planned activity for them. Do it with them.
Right.
Reassure them that the day went well. You can have those conversations, and this is probably the best time to do it because it's right on their mind. They haven't forgotten, and they're more apt to tell you.
Absolutely. Build a predictable routine. Usually, things we can control makes us feel safe because they are predictable, while things that fall out of our control can lead to feelings of anxiety because they are unpredictable. One way parents can help children build feelings of safety and security during COVID-19 is by creating a predictable daily routine, beginning with consistent times for meals, for waking up, for going to bed. Before or after school, engage your child in planned, shared activities like making breakfast,
Simple.
reading together, or going to the park.
Yeah. Now, you wouldn't want to go to the park before school.
No.
Because you want them to get ready for school. But yeah, getting their backpack ready, making sure their homework is in their backpack, making breakfast together.
Right?
If you allow some screen time in the morning, because there is lots of time, don't let them just watch a TV show or a cartoon or something on their own. Engage with them. Be with them to do it. It's going to give them more reassurance. And you want to make sure that you model calm behavior yourself. We're all stressed with this COVID-19. I think we're all done with it. But unfortunately, it's going to be here for a while longer. It's okay for parents to feel uncertain and worried. However, as much as possible, try to model calm and confident attitudes about returning to school for your child, and use cheerful, positive messages when saying goodbye, empathy when responding to tantrums, protests, or crying. Try not to get frustrated yourself. There is going to be a lot of fears in our children, especially our younger children. And if we're showing them our own frustrations with this, it may just trigger their fears to increase. We have to attempt to be calm. Our children notice everything that we feel. They pick it up just like that. Such subtle cues. Our shoulders are arched, or we're complaining about headaches all the time, or just those little things. Our children start to pick up on those cues. Scared facial expressions. When talking about these types of conversations, the change in our tone of voice, those little simple things our children are picking up.
Right.
So as parents, we need to make sure that we're taking care of our own well-being and our own mental health. we're better able to care for our children, to talk to our children, to understand our children when our well-being and mental health is more in check. Does it mean you have to be perfect? No.
No.
Especially during a time like this, no one really is going to be perfect. It's how much we try, how much we attempt, because even our children seeing us attempt to change our own behaviors or to deal with a situation, they still get those subtle cues too.
Right.
And it can be reassuring to them. If mommy and daddy can try, you know what? I think I can try. So be kind to yourself. Seek out those that you can turn to talk to when you're struggling or troubled by these unprecedented circumstances. None of us that are sending children to school have gone through this before. It's a once-in-a-lifetime experience that wish wasn't happening. But our children need to know we're there for them through their struggles, through their fears, through the good times and the bad. I know that sounds like a cliche, but there's going to be lots of worries.
Absolutely.
So that first morning that they get on a school bus, be with them, reassure them.
Right.
That first day they get off the school bus, be there, reassure them, engage in positive activities so that they're not just focusing on what happened during the day or what their fears may have been. And when you're engaging in positive conversation or positive play, you can talk about these things. They're more apt to tell you. And you'll be able to discuss what their fears may be. I hope this helps a few people out there. I know when I read it, it gave me more insight on how I can engage with parents on this topic. And this information was reported by The Conversation and Jessica Cook from The Conversation. Google whenever you want. There's lots of information out there on how to strategize. This is just a few tools that hopefully will help. Thank you for listening.
Be safe.